Hello, my name is Leslie Kagle, and I am making my video presenting my portfolio for my master's in building administration. I would say this has probably been the most challenging thing that I've ever done, especially with the way everything happened with COVID and with some of the other, really big life changes that happened this year. Um, Kind of in the middle of this portfolio or towards the end of my master experience, I did a complete career change. And some of that kind of lent positively toward some of the components of this portfolio because I was an elementary school teacher, so most of my experience was kind of in the elementary spectrum. But I moved into mental health, so I was able to work with a larger variety of students and age groups. I think the biggest focus that I've had over the last several months has been middle school, but I also have a couple secondary high school um, students that are my clients as well. So it's kind of been one of those amazing learning experiences. And I guess that's just part of how this works, right? We're supposed to be lifelong learners. And um, this has definitely been a challenge. So, kind of learning how to meet the needs of older students because they definitely have a completely different mindset and they learn in a completely different way. So it has been very interesting in that perspective. Um, Another kind of funny component to this was the bibliographies because initially in this, I had gone through all of the articles I had read over the course of my master's, and I was dropping them in that way. And then after I was done, I saw on there that none of your articles could be articles that you had read during doing your coursework, that they all had to be new. So I had to completely start over. So that was kind of one of the interesting aspects of this because that was one of the biggest jobs. I think when doing this video, through the course of this master's, I have never been able to meet the minimum time constraints. So I'm going to make my best effort in doing it this one last time in this endeavor. But I think that it's most important to hit on those 11 competencies for being an effective educational leader. I think one of them was mission and vision statements. And I think if you're going to be an effective leader, everybody has to know what your mission is. Everybody needs to know what you see as an effective, team, as a leadership, as a building. Everybody has to know where that road is going if they're going to effectively help you get there. So another one is ethics and professional norms. And I think that that has been one of the best of the competencies that I have been learning about because that is one thing that you can teach a kindergartner and you can teach a senior and you could teach a 40-year-old. It's how to make those choices and what guides them and the different models there are for making these decisions. But you can make it as simple as kindergarten. Please treat others the way you'd wish to be treated. Or it could be as complicated as, here's the model and we need to input, all the different areas in there. And, but for me, it's what is in the best interest of the child. So that's kind of where I'm going with whatever I'm thinking. And as long as what's in the best interest of the child does not inflict with policy or laws, then it's probably something that we're going to look into. But it was definitely one of my favorite competencies to explore. Inclusiveness has been a major competency in education for many years now. Everybody needs to be included, regardless of their academic level or what they're doing. There needs to be an amount of inclusion, and not just even with the kids, but with staff. Everybody needs to be included. Everybody needs to feel like they are a part of the team and that they matter. And when you do that, your stakeholders become invested. They become invested in their job. They become invested in education. They become invested with the kids. And therefore, they will perform better. Cultural responsiveness. I mean, with everything that is going on, even in the news today, with Black Lives Matters, and now there has been a huge rage in some of our Asian population, and it has just been a big subject matter for a long time. And it matters. It's important, and it needs to be in every aspect of our teaching, whether we are investigating science or math or ELA. We always need to be aware that there are other cultures and that there's a level of respect that we need to use when we are investigating those cultures or when we are learning those cultures. So I think that it's definitely an important element, especially today. Another one of the 11 competencies was responsibilities of an instructional leader. And I think that was the biggest prejudgment, and then later after taking this 3-year journey, I think that as a teacher, I kind of thought that, I oversimplified the role of a principal. There's so much more involved in being a good building leader than I had ever imagined. And when I was about halfway through the program, I thought to myself, I can't do this. Like, there's just too much. I mean, between all the laws and regulations with special education and then building finance and then the data, and then, I mean, it's not just about issuing discipline to students or managing a teaching staff. I mean, there's so much more involved. I think that it was very eye-opening. And there's so much responsibility that comes with being a leader. And that has just definitely been one of those things where it had many phases. At first, it was like, I can't do this. And then it was like, okay, well, and now I'm at the point where, yeah, I can't do this alone. And that's when my brain kind of started changing courses and saying, yeah, but I could do this with the right team. If I had the right people with me, if I could allocate out tasks, I could do it. And that's when I think my mind went from, no, I have to be in control of everything and I have to be the one that's in charge, to I want to work with others and others can help me accomplish these goals. So that was a big change in my personality and who I am. Opportunities for learning, involvement in communities, which is always important because those children are going to eventually transition out of education and into the community. They need to know where they fit. It's very important. External leadership help, opportunities and management, building professional capacity. These are all essential competencies for being an effective leader. And whether, even if I'm leaving education, I'm going into mental health, I'm still going to be a leader because of everything that I learned in this program. And I would never consider this chance, this learning, as something that I'm not going to use. I may not be a future building principal, but I am a future leader. And this master helped me be prepared no matter what role I take in that. Whether I'm in therapy or I'm a building leader, I'm going to be working with children, and I am going to be on a team that cares about kids, their health, and their success. So I definitely want to thank Fort Hays State for that. I apologize for any kind of lateness on my part or with this project, but I definitely want to say thank you to everyone, and it's been a pleasure working with you.